Alright, back to work.
This is the first time I'm seeing the name Nether Grasslands, and that's a terrible name. It's 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 such a pun location name, if you know what I mean. It's like a classic pun location name, and those are always
But you
very
love
corny.
puns.
Yeah, but pun location names are usually very corny.
At least it's not space location names and and alien names, which I hate with a passion
Okay.
because there's just
Thank you for that. I've been watching this documentary on Netflix called Alien Worlds. And it's a little disappointing. I thought it was going to be documentaries about like fully we're on this alien world and we're just four documentaries. What was
I thought there'd be something down. I thought sometimes there are enemies down there you can bounce off of, and I thought there would be this
so
time.
full documentary style, fully on alien world. But it's largely just a documentary about interesting Earth things that then just does a it uses this alien world because it does go to alien worlds as context to just talk about stuff on Earth, and the Earth to alien world ratio is not to my liking. There's too much Earth, which I thought was just going to be a full alien documentary, whatever. So in the first world they go to, there is the air is heavy, and it's so heavy that these heavier creatures can fly. And I'm like, cool. And they're called sky grazers. I'm like, what? No! That just sounds like an Earth name. They're not called that. Why would you do that? It just. And so they're talking about this alien biology and everything. It's like, this is so interesting. And sky grazers. And he just take it out of it completely. It's so dumb. Why would you do that? And it's just, that's the stuff that happens. It's not as. Sky grazers is the worst and the first. But it's still, there are other instances where it's a little annoying. It's like, yeah, don't name your alien thing Earth thing.
I mean, that's part of it. I was just like talking about the ones where just like, yes, the planet Malchior 7.
Yes. Yes, that's annoying too. Why do, like, I know, because what's the point of the number? Is the number just, this is the name of the sun, and then that's the seventh planet from the sun? That makes sense, but it's still kind of overdone.
Yeah. I mean, actual scientists do that, so I imagine that they would be playing off of that, but still, it's just like, there's another thing that gets on my nerves, and I can't remember what it was, but it's about how they name the inhabitants of the planets. And I just, it's completely just missing me right now, the idea. But it's incredibly stupid. Like there are some. It's almost like you can put the letters, like, oh boy, in order to make them sound exotic and spacey, we need to have the letter X and Z and and letters that we usually don't use, and just put them everywhere.
We need letters with strong sounds, so we need to have the K's. We need to have double consonants and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, whatever. The thing as well is like, if we named the planet Malchior 7, sure. But the Malchiorans shouldn't call their planet Malchior 7. They should have their own name for it.
I actually have that plot point be a thing in like one of the few series I make where I write about that has to deal with space in the first place, because I always thought that.
Yeah, it's even on Earth, it's like countries, they have their own names for their own countries, and then there's the English names, and they are different.
I mean, surely there must be some sci-fi that has talked about that at this point. Like, there's no disputing that. It's just weird how I haven't seen it.
And then we have stuff like
also,
Star
press
Trek,
the wrong button there.
where they're Vulcans and they're from the planet Vulcan.
I mean, look, there's a lot of. It's almost like space has just become a new. Well, for a lot of people, space has just become a different version of Tolkienism. Okay? And the thing is that with that Tolkienism comes a lot of stuff that you'd think people would understand, hey, this thing is overused. Maybe I shouldn't do it just because it sounds cool. And it won't make me sound...
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like... There should, I guess, things sounding cool is a good enough reason. There's not... If it's a laid-back thing, it doesn't have to be overthought. And it's really just the whole, how hard or soft is the sci-fi, I guess. And not even that, because you can have soft sci-fi that doesn't mean it has to be nonsense.
Yeah... I mean, there's also the fact that outside of the stuff trying to be whether you're taking seriously or not, it's always weird how little okay. I know suspension of disbelief that things would have technically evolved around the same level of understandings in the same kinds of ways, with a few differences, and but the differences between that and the wildlife is always just like, no, that's not how this works. I mean, technically, but it shouldn't be how it always works.
What do you mean exactly?
Okay. Imagine that there is, just for sake of argument, aliens that obviously have different senses than we do.
Mm-hmm.
And they communicate entirely with that. Now, them being the major... Oh, carrot out of nowhere. Well, of course. Them being the major inhabitants of that planet, it's always weird that despite that, they're communicating in a way that we can still understand. Whereas, other things that have similar amounts of communication on different planets are considered the wildlife.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the sentience level, the sentience level between planets isn't entirely consistent.
Yeah, I mean, in my story, I basically put at least some explanation to why that is. Of course, I don't go too much into it because I'm not the type of person to do that, especially since space isn't my expertise, it's fantasy.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And usually when these ideas come up, the person involved has to end up just doing some research or hiring a consultant so that they have some context, so it's not just completely off base.
And yet it's still always weird when you see just like major series that still takes itself at least quasi-seriously, and even people who aren't really that educated can still look at it and say, but that's stupid.
Yeah, and it's always there's always different reasons, but I guess the reasons don't matter, the end product is still like that. But yeah, it's always interesting. It's like, going back to Star Trek again, because I know what's Star Trek. In the most recent season, when of Star Trek Discovery, when the ship, we can see the design of the ship, and we can see the size of the ship, and then they go into the Star Trek equivalent of elevators, and suddenly the ship is like the size of a galaxy. It's just insanely huge. It's like, how can someone miss the consistency? Like something as simple as, why does the ship look so big on the inside and not on the outside? But actually, that's not a start. That's not a sci-fi thing.
Everyone explains that as nanomachines and just leaves it at that.
Well, the saying is not just TARDIS tech. But the thing is that that's not really a sci-fi thing. That's kind of just a logic thing. But there's a lot of shows that just have this logic gap where it's like, hey, you kind of missed that. How did everyone? I'm assuming not everyone missed that. I'm assuming like someone in charge said this scene would be cool. Do this, and then they weren't listened to when the people are like, this is weird. Weren't listened to. But yeah, there's always these weird things like that. It's like the Loud House. There's a recent episode where Lori and what's her name? Not Lori. I got both. Lana and Lena, the
What?
twins, are having
Oh, okay.
respective birthday parties, and the gross one is having a garbage theme one with actual garbage. It's like, why? No. Why? How? That's. It's okay. A character being too exaggerated. How do people not catch something? Because sometimes it's slight, sometimes it's very obvious. And how is it not caught when something really obvious to the point where it's like farcical? Even more farcical than the context of the show normally would make it. It's like, yeah, that's weird.
I mean, why would she have a problem during that episode? During that episode where Lincoln decided to make them all go super conservative on their power, except for him, for stupid reasons, and I hate that episode.
Oh my gosh, that episode's awful. Oh my god. You know? Okay. I'm going to go very dangerously on a Loud House tangent.
Oh, are we?
Because I
Okay.
haven't seen enough of the Loud House to be able to really make any judgment calls. But why do people love season 1 so much?
I mean, it had some really good
Yeah, but
episodes.
firstly, I kind of just, hey, the show focuses more on the sister. It's more on the sisters as characters. It's less Lincoln versus the sisters and more just a big family show. That's good. I don't understand why people don't like that. I think that's a good thing. But what? So people don't like that, sure. But season 1 has so much. Everyone is terrible to each other, garbage that I just don't. Why? What do people see in it?
Yeah, I mean that's the reason why I kind of fell off. I'm like, I like the concept, I like the writing for the good episodes, but I just really hate the jerks, which is turning into everybody.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's at least in Fairly Odd Parents, only Timmy was the jerk.
You say that, but I distinctly remember the charades episode
The charades. Okay, well,
where he was grounded for not being good at charades.
and I think
after the parents were the ones who decided to bet their trophy, and Timmy didn't want to be part of it to begin with.
yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, I've actually seen, like, we're just going to so many different topics, but I've seen people who are like, yeah, the treatment Timmy gets is not funny, and that alone makes the show not worth watching. Which I understand. Yeah, it is. It's sometimes, like, in the hindsight, it's not really that funny the way he gets treated, basically abused by his parents.
Dang! Again, barely missed that S rank because of the Prinny death amount. I think because again that was close to 430, and so that's what I thought. But here we hear that this Prinny
Oh, he just knows?
was one of the reasons. Of course they know.
They just remember. I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. That's not weird, I guess. They just know. It's like, oh yeah, I know that. So they, oh, okay.
It'd be weird if they were toiling away for sins they don't remember.
That would be terrible. That would be like The Good Place. Even though I can't say
Dang it, I keep
anything
forgetting
else,
to watch
I can't
that.
say a single other sentence because that would be spoilers. Watch The Good Place before you get spoiled.
I know, I forgot. Okay, I'll make an effort to try and remember.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess that's true. Everyone, even in like the season 5s, like everyone's such a, like, because Cosmo's really mean to his wife, and Wanda is also really mean. I guess they're all mean.
I missed I miss I miss the early seasons where Wanda wasn't exactly stupid, but she had her little own wacky sense of how to do things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But instead, it's like I am the smartest one. Also, like I'm very exasperated by everybody, and I'm going to take myself out of the episode because either you're not going to listen to me very specifically, or I'm going to have myself out of the episode until the end to fix things.
Yeah. And early seasons is like probably the first 12 episodes. It went away very quickly.